Hey, Boomer.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Victory Monday. How does it feel?
Much better than it did last week, and it was really minus that first Panthers drive. It was really all phases of the game for the Patriots yesterday.
100%, man. And I think Mike Vrabel alluded to that after the game. He wanted to point out some of the guys that, didn't, like shine like, say, Steph Diggs or Drake Maye did. I mean, it was a little bit of everything. It was offense, defense, special teams for sure. I mean, it was a beatdown, total control over Carolina. Now, this is one of the reasons, guys, why I still think they're going to have a very good record this year when you look at their schedule. I know next Sunday night's going to be a tough one in Buffalo, but after that, if they don't win four of those, say 3 or 4 out of the next 5 games, I would be shocked. I mean, I think this team is a really good team, but I think their schedule lends them to be a very good team, and they should be able to build some confidence here now.
Well, one of the guys that he went out of his way to praise post-game was Pop Douglas, who we talked a lot about with you last week, and we talked to Pop Douglas on Friday on this show. And so I feel like, I don't know if you agree or not, but that's one of the things about Mike Vrabel that I really like is when guys are down, he goes out of his way to pick them up and does it publicly.
Yeah, I know Bill Belichick didn't do that. I mean, he didn't have any feelings for anybody. And I thought Jermaine could probably speak to that better than any of us can. I hate you. You suck. You can't walk. But I appreciate Mike. That's Mike, the player, talking too. I think he understands because he was a player that there were things that he probably did in games that nobody ever spoke about, but his teammates knew about. And it's nice to be able to give some praise to some guys that normally don't get it and maybe who are struggling. And when they don't struggle or they make a big play, he's not afraid to actually point that out. And that's a good thing for morale in the locker room as well.
Well, Boomer, sometimes you know where you stand with Bill when he treats you like that. So sometimes it's a little bit better than to get yo-yoed around. When you look at Josh McDaniels and what he was able to do again with calling a very good game plan for Drake Maye, how important is it going to be for him to consistently week in and week out make sure he's doing so many things that take advantage of Drake Maye's athleticism?
All right, so one of the things about this game as opposed to last week was the lack of turnovers. And that's from Drake Maye, that's from Ramondre Stevenson, that's from everybody. I mean, they didn't have any turnovers yesterday, and it's one of the reasons why, that they won as convincingly as they did. He's going to have to throw for more than, 17 attempts. Yesterday was one of those games where he didn't really have to do much, but when he did do something, he made the right reads, he made the right plays. Next week at Buffalo is going to be a little bit different. He's probably going to have to throw more. There's going to be more chances for, interceptions and things of that nature, but he can't go in scared. He's got to play aggressive. I mean, you know it, I know it. Playing in Buffalo is really, really difficult. And even though, they kind of sleptwalked through a win yesterday against New Orleans, they're going to be ready for New England. They'll be ready for Drake Maye, just like they were ready for the Jets in week 2. So I think it's a good thing to build on, and I thought he played a smart game yesterday. I thought Josh McDaniels called a really smart game, but he's going to have to do more at that position if they're really going to become a playoff team. And it really starts next Sunday night. Let's see how he plays on the road at Buffalo, and let's see if he can lead his team to a win against, I think, a very suspect Buffalo defense, by the way.
Good time to get this week's Drake take from you, presented by your New England Chevy dealers. Together, let's drive. Did you like the Drake homage to Cam Newton with the Superman touchdown celly yesterday?
Wow. I mean, these kids are all wrapped up into the emotions of the game these days. And I mean, I didn't really ever do something like that, but that doesn't mean that these guys can't do something like this today. Yeah. And I think it was great. And I think that's what you do when you have fun and you're winning and you can celebrate. And we really should make too much out of it. I don't think the Carolina Panthers were thinking too much about this simply because they got their asses kicked. So what I'm more impressed with, instead of the celly, is the 74% completion percentage. That's the second best in the last 4 games of a season in New England history. 2007, Tom Brady had a 79% completion percentage, minimum of 100%. So if he completes his passes at this level and does not throw interceptions, that's winning football from the quarterback.
You're actually friends with the original actor who played Superman, George Reeves. Is that correct?
No, I'm not. I know who he is, but no, I'm not.
It was I think it was when he was on. It was the radio serial in 1941, wasn't it?
The Adventures of Superman.
Greg, I'm not as old as you are, so just back off.
Boomer. Boomer, I'm 58. You're older than me.
But
Let's
I don't
be
look
clear.
as old as you do.
That's a good point.
All right, you got me there.
By the way, can I ask you guys a question? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't probably shouldn't be doing this, but who was working with Jim Nantz yesterday?
I don't know. Great question.
That was Tony Romo, but it didn't look like him.
What happened to his hand? Did you see when he had the football in his hand, Boomer? His right hand was like swollen. It was bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know what he just looked different to me. I don't know. He might have had some work done or something. I'm serious. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be funny. It was obvious.
It was bizarre. It was shocking when they went up to the booth. I was like, because he sounded the same, but he looked totally different.
All right, so I did not see things. In other words, we saw the same thing.
Yes, Boomer. Absolutely.
It wasn't your television.
I thought maybe my
it was the
television
TV.
was wrong
Yeah,
or something.
something
That was
was wrong with
streaming, you know?
Yeah.
Boomer, you bring up the completion percentage for Drake Maye, and you look at the last 3 weeks, he's been pretty good, even better than against the Panthers. How much do you need to take into account that it is against the Panthers and the Dolphins, and how much do you need to take into account that Drake Maye is changing, growing, getting better?
I think he is getting better. There's no question about it. But, he hasn't played a top-flight defense yet. When I look at their schedule, I'm like, how the hell are they not 4-0? I mean, that's what I really think about, that they lost some opportunities against Vegas and Pittsburgh that they probably would love to have back. I guess Pittsburgh probably played one of their better defensive games this year, along with this weekend against the Vikings. But, like I said, this is going to be a really good test for him Sunday night at Buffalo. Buffalo's defense really smothered the Jets 2 weeks ago. I could see them trying to employ that game plan a little bit more. But the one thing that Drake does have on his side, and I keep saying this, is that he does have Josh McDaniels calling the plays. And as long as Josh is there calling the plays, he's always going to have a chance to have a solid game like yesterday, because they want balance. And the fact that 6 guys scored touchdowns in a game is really amazing when you think about it, because that normally doesn't happen.
Boomer, obviously, Sunday night game, we've been alluding to it with the Bills and the Patriots. Where are you on the Drake Maye greatest comp is Josh Allen, and do you think that is an accurate comparison for Drake Maye's quarterback style?
No, I don't think so. I think Josh, when he came into the league, was like a bucking bronco. Like, he just wanted to run with it, to dive over people. And I know Drake has similar traits, but Josh is at the top of the food chain when it comes to playing quarterback in this league. I mean, he can do anything whenever he wants on the field. And there are very few players that I could say that about. I would say that Patrick Mahomes has that ability. Lamar has that ability, and that's about it. I mean, that's lofty praise. That's a lofty comp, no question about it. He's got a long way to go before he gets there. But I think it's size, and I think it's athleticism, and I think they're going to be saying the same thing about Jackson Dart down here in New York, because they saw him running with the ball yesterday. Brian Daboll's calling the plays, and the next thing you know, everybody wants to compare somebody to Josh Allen. I understand physically the attributes, but I don't necessarily know that he's just there yet.
You brought up Nantz and Romo in that game. Patrick Mahomes is back. Can we say that?
Well, Xavier Worthy was back, so that certainly helped. But the Baltimore defense is a disaster, guys. I mean, it really is, and this has always been their calling card. They had one of the best run defenses over the last 10 years in the NFL. And now, all of a sudden, they're missing Matabuke yesterday, one of their very talented defensive tackles. With him out, all of a sudden, their run defense is just horrendous. And I just think that Kansas City bullied them all over the field. And Kansas City does have a top 5 defense in the NFL. That I will say. Them and Cleveland. I think Pittsburgh is starting to rise. The Rams have a pretty damn good defense. So I would say that I wouldn't say that he's arrived again, but I would say this morning he probably still feels like the boss of the AFC.
Boomer, you said you're shocked on how the Patriots shouldn't be 4-0. So then I asked the question after watching a lot of games. You brought up Cleveland, who beat the Packers a couple weeks ago. Who in the AFC is really the cream of the crop? Because watching the Baltimore-Kansas City game, and, my expectations were Baltimore were going to be a Super Bowl contender and probably win the Super Bowl this year. But I just don't know who's the team in the AFC. Maybe I would probably lean towards Buffalo. But do you think the AFC is wide open?
I would say yes, just simply because of defensive issues. Buffalo would be number 1 right now. Kansas City, by virtue of their beatdown yesterday, I think is probably right there on their heels. The other team, too, is the Chargers. Even though they lost yesterday, they lost 2 offensive linemen in the middle of this game. And, I mean, it really showed itself because the Giants do have some pretty good pass rushers, and Justin Herbert was under fire the entire game. They got to figure out their offensive line. But as far as I'm sitting here, and this is one of the reasons why I still believe that New England is definitely a playoff team. Number one, their schedule. And number two, look at the injuries and look at the defenses in the AFC. There may be only 2 right now that really stand out. And with Christian Gonzalez coming back yesterday, maybe New England has one of the top defenses in the NFL. And maybe, just maybe, over the next 4 or 5 weeks, we'll start seeing their defensive statistics starting to get better, depending on what happens Sunday night in Buffalo.
Time for the question of the week for Boomer, brought to you by McFarland Energy, the region's most dependable provider of home heating oil delivery and expert HVAC services at McFarlandEnergy.com. Boomer, top 3 Bad Bunny jams and why, please?
I don't know because I don't speak Spanish. I'm sorry. All of his music is in Spanish. I mean, I like the rhythm, but I mean, as a Met fan last year, we had "Oh My God," right? That was Candelita did that, and that was Jose Iglesias. He was the Met player who sung that song, and we love that song here. So he's got a bunch of songs that kind of mirror that kind of thing. So I don't know how that's going to go over, but good for him that he got the halftime Super Bowl deal. That's I'm happy for him, and I'm happy for his family. How's that? And you know what else I'm happy about? I'm happy about Red Sox Yankees. I'm very happy about Red Sox Yankees.
We were just going to ask, what do you think? We got 3 down there starting tomorrow night.
Well, I know they're not going to be. The Red Sox will not be intimidated. I know that. I do believe that Aaron Judge is by far and away the MVP of the American League. I know that my Mets are the biggest financial disaster in professional sports history. They had $421 million invested into this dead team, and they didn't even make it. They lost out to the Reds, of all teams, who were terrible. Oh, my God. Yeah, Terry Francona. Good for him. But anyway, I think it's a 2-1 Yankees victory.
Boomer, were you at Bethpage and did you yell anything at Rory over the weekend?
Which was very much expected by us down here in New York. You know, Gio and I did a whole thing with NBC about the Bethpage fans and what we expected. And what we saw in Rome was going to be amplified 10 times on Long Island, and it was. And, you know, some of the things that they were yelling at him, I had friends out there who were in the crowd telling me some of the stuff that was being said. It was way over the top. It was not very becoming of the golf fan down here in New York. So I don't know. I felt bad for Rory, and I felt bad for our team because we couldn't make a putt the first two days. But, you know, if Russell Henley makes one of those putts on 17 or 18, maybe the whole thing changes and maybe the U.S. comes all the way back to win.
It was great television.
It was, but you felt bad for Rory? Come on. He comes off like such a douche throughout the entire thing.
Oh, listen, I love when women say douche. Courtney, you're right up my alley, man. This is awesome. I feel like I'm on Barstool Radio. You know, it's amazing. I saw Rory literally the week before at a golf course down here in Southampton called Sabonic. It's right next to Shinnecock, and he was out here. I think he was out here with Shane Lowry, and maybe Rasmus was with him, Hogard, and they were doing all the East End golf courses. And I wanted to boo him when I walked past them, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it because I knew in about a week's time he was going to get ripped, and he did get ripped. And I understand why he got ripped, but it's one thing. Look, you know, Courtney, I felt bad for his wife. You know, his wife is sitting there, and the crap that they were yelling at her, that's the thing where I think you crossed the line.
Of course. They threw a water bottle at her at one point, I
mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, it's embarrassing. It's ridiculous, but it was not unexpected. I mean, like Gio and I down here totally expected this thing to go off the rails. It did, unfortunately. They had to bring the state troopers in. NBC was, they were talking about it. To their credit, they were talking about it. They did bring it up. But I don't think they really, truly amplified the amount of abuse that his family and that he was taking. And that's why he reacted the way he did.
After the tie last night, are we able to determine yet who won the Micah Parsons trade?
1 sack in that game last night. Micah had the only sack, but 80 points. That was like a flag football game last night. It really was. I mean, it was, and there's nothing more disappointing than a tie in the NFL. Do you guys agree?
Yes. Go to the college football rules or something. There's got to be something to determine a winner.
You know what? How about we go to we should go to the NHL rules and take offensive and defensive linemen off the field.
Ooh.
And just and then see what happens. How's that? I could do
Play
like
flag football. I mean,
Or
isn't that what the
7-on-7.
league now? Isn't that what the league is now? 7-on-7.
7-on-7, Jermaine. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
right. Boomer, thank you as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Victory Monday, kids. Enjoy it. See ya.